What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hey Babe, Can We Talk? With me, your host and bestie, Drea Renee. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is a place for the hot mess expresses, the black sheeps of love, and for those who just can't seem to get it right when it comes to matters of the heart. I am you, you are me, we are one. And if no one else gets you, I do. And if you're returning, I missed you. And we're going to have a great episode. On today's episode, we have Jodi Joy here, guys. She is a breathwork healer, a spiritual counselor, and we're going to be talking about conscious uncoupling, breaking up with love, and dating as a healer. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe, and comment down below because I'd love to hear from you guys. Introducing Jodi Joy. Here we go. Oh my God, I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. We've been talking about this forever, so it's such an honor.
Yeah, and we're talking about conscious uncoupling, which is such an amazing topic because so many people break up and it's just absolutely terrible. But you're here to tell people it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Breakups don't have to suck.
They really don't. They don't have to be hard. They don't have to suck. They actually can be this exciting experience of entering a new chapter of your life.
Yeah.
But it has to be done with love and with compassion.
Yeah.
And hopefully two people willing to stay. You know, at one point you're in this river of love. And you want to continue that, but it shifts, it changes. It's not the same container that you once had it in.
So give us a little bit of background on what you do and then how we got here today.
All right. I'm a breathwork practitioner, healer, as well as a psycho-spiritual counselor. So I really assist people, helping them heal from breakups, trauma, and, just life as it feels heavy and at different times in their life. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're so good. Don't apologize. We're chilling. It's all good. It's all good.
So what I do is I help people heal from trauma. And that could be trauma with a capital T or trauma with a little t. And it's all in how you perceive it when something happens.
Okay.
Such as a breakup.
Big T or little t.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
And oftentimes people feel breakups are heartbreak, right? And then that energy, they get stuck in it. The sadness, the grieving. It's normal. We don't need to race through that process, but if it's not fully processed, it gets stuck in your energetic body. And then guess what? You attract a partner that was just like the next one, and you're stuck in that cycle.
I really relate to that so hard because when I was younger, breakups, still, and in my adult life, breakups are like the worst thing in the world to me. And I've gotten better at understanding you can have an experience with someone and let them go. But before, I would do anything not to break up with someone because I did not want to deal with the feelings. Even if I wasn't like in love with them, I just didn't want to go through the process of like feeling lonely, going through the first weekend alone, going to a party and then being like, what happened with you guys? Like, I didn't want to do any of it. So I would just stay.
And that's so common. So many people do. You see that often where relationships had an expiration date a long time before they actually expire.
Yeah.
And it's truly part of the consciousness in a relationship is knowing when the season is ending. Not everyone is meant to be in our life forever. Sad, I know, right? However, but there's like 9 billion people in this world. There's many soulmates out there. It's not just one. And so having that hope and that faith when you're going through the breakup and actually going forward with excitement instead of sitting in the sadness.
Have you always been intuitive like this, like since you were a little girl? I was just thinking about like, when did you know that you had this gift?
Well, I had a near-death experience. I had multiple brain surgeries, and I woke up in the middle of my brain surgery and saw my body on the table and had to choose to either come back into my life and live a full life or exit my pain body. But I was not promised to be out of pain. So I found this path of healing myself through the breathwork, which is what I now teach, as well as really just tapping into my intuition and my higher self, because I got to meet my higher self in that moment. And all of my gifts came online after that. It was like superpowers.
Wow. And what is it about breath work that is so powerful? I've only done a couple sessions and it was really intense. And I was like thinking, what is happening to my body? Did they give me drugs?
It feels that way. It feels that way. It's often very euphoric. But what it is we're tapping into the subconscious mind. And oftentimes we don't give ourselves permission to even go there. We're living in the head. And the breath work connects you to your heart. And in the heart is where the wisdom lives and the true answers live. Which is how it even relates into breaking up. If we're living in the head, that's why we're sitting in the same stories of I'm going to be lonely, it's going to look hard, it's going to look the old way that all the other breakups have been.
Right.
But there's a different way of doing it.
So
Yeah, and breath work truly teaches you the wisdom within. So these gifts also came online through doing breath work daily.
So talk to me about conscious uncoupling. What is it for those who don't know? Because I know people think like, oh, that's like an LA thing. You know what I mean? That's like a woo-woo thing. You break up and you never talk again. But it doesn't have to be like that.
No, I have a beautiful relationship with my ex-partner. And how that happened was truly the breakup was with love. And the consciousness, what it means is it's wanting to continue to have some type of healthy dynamic with this person instead of just parting ways and never talking again. You shared a life with someone.
Right.
Intimate details, past traumas, all of it. Do you just want to like put that in a box and forget it happened? If the person was abusive or toxic, I highly suggest
Thank you. I was like, please, she's going to give a caveat, right?
Yeah, like we're not going to carry on relationships with people that are abusive ever or toxic.
So guys, she's not saying that you should go call your ex. This is not a promo to go call your ex. So please do not take it as that, because I feel like people hear, why do you want to, get rid of all that stuff with the person you were with for a long time? And I know if I heard that a long time ago, I'd be like, well, I'm calling my ex. Yeah. I'm going to give him a call.
Well, yes, if they're toxic or they're abusive, we're not opening that box again, right? We can put them, there's closure. But in a conscious relationship, it's making the choice that we're all energetic beings. We all carry a frequency. Mm-hmm. And if we can continue to carry the frequency of love instead of closing ourselves down to it, which is what most of us do when we go through a painful experience.
Right.
Then you are going to attract a lower vibrational person. Deep breath.
Deep breath.
Yeah, let's take a deep breath together.
Clearly I was a little triggered by that. I'm like, low vibration people.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them in LA, so.
To be fair.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere. However, it's really, the work starts with you when you're attracting a partner. So making sure that your frequency and your side of the street is clean. So that was the intention of conscious breakup, is keeping your, energy clear and not going into the toxic patterns that a lot of people do in breakups when they talk bad about each other.
Right.
There's so much, especially when you're in similar friend groups. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so it's really just being able to hold this person with the utmost integrity, but the integrity starts with yourself.
Right.
And so having that relationship allows, so for example, like my conscious breakup looks.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you do if you want to consciously uncouple? Like, how does a person go about doing this?
Okay, well, I live every day of my life as a ceremony. So it was a ceremony. It really was.
Was it really a ceremony?
Legitimately.
Of course it was. What am I talking about?
Yes. And the most beautiful part was he decided he was part of the person that led this conscious uncoupling.
Really?
We decided together. And I did go back into some old patterning where I was hurt and I wanted to, cry my eyes out and be like, don't touch me, get away from me. And it was like, wait, let's come back to love. Like, you teach love. And I was like, you're right. Thank you for calling me forward in this moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That just gave me goosebumps.
It really was. It was a beautiful moment. It was also it was a beautiful breakup. But we did eye gazing with each other and sat with each other, and like a judgment that I have about you, that's really about me, because everything starts with ourselves. It's not outside. You can blame the other person, but truly, if you're in full alignment, then you're not going to attract the person in that state.
It just won't happen.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So we did a judgment I have about you is really about me. And then we went into something I love about you. And we just, it was really beautiful. And I mean, the tears, the heart opening, I got to hear words that I had been waiting 3 years to hear in that breakup. Which
was that confusing a little bit for you in that moment of where you are saying the things that you love that you kind of maybe wanted to go back together? Or were you able to keep it like, okay, this is what we're doing?
Beautiful question. I knew the intention. And yes, if I had not set an intention that this is the way forward, that we made this choice together, then absolutely it would have been, but you love me still. Why are we doing this? I'm not to say it was completely easy by any means, because there was love there, but it was what needed to happen. And we even went to therapy after that together, to continue to stay in the energy of love, not with each other, but to attract a healthy partner after.
Oh, so when you did the conscious uncoupling ceremony, this isn't like a one-time thing. This is a journey. that you want? Because some people may think we sit down, we do the thing, and then like that's it. But you're saying for you, it could be a process.
Yeah, with everyone, it could be different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to make a decision on the level of communication that you're going to have with this person, what your heart can actually handle. Space is always needed in the beginning. I wouldn't say you're going to continue to talk to this person, but I lived with him for a few months after. So we wanted to make sure that we had, beautiful energy in that home still, because it was a house of healing. My healing studio was in it. And so,
right.
Yeah.
And are you in this space every day, right? Because I think what's so interesting about living in LA, we get the gift of being around people who are kind of in this mindset. But when I go home to Texas, no shade to Texas, okay? I'm just saying where I'm from. People aren't as conscious of their feelings and their subconscious, and they kind of just shut this part out. So I think a lot of people will break up and like, that's it. They do it the old fashioned way. Oh, we don't talk, we separated, and we moved on. Are you able to stay in this space on a regular, like every day you can tap into this? Or some days you're like, I can't.
It's the work that I do, and I truly think every day is an opportunity to touch on loving awareness and not judge yourself in it. So there are some days where it's like, oh, I needed more space, but it's communication, which was the most important. If he reached out to me and I wasn't in the space because my heart was still hurting, I communicate that.
Right.
Instead of, just shutting him down or being, toxic and going back to old patterns. And so, not that we ever had toxic, but in my younger years, I didn't know any of this information and how to, hold the utmost integrity in a relationship afterwards. And so it was just communicating with love and compassion.
Yeah. When did this gain popularity? Because this conscious uncoupling seems like a new thing. I'm not saying people maybe did similar things back in the past, but they didn't have the language for it.
Yeah.
But I feel like this has gained more popularity now, where it's like, let's uncouple, and still be loving to each other. We don't have to hate each other, because I think it's so easy. And to be fair, I don't think a lot of people have a lot of emotional intelligence just around anything, friendships, parents, and then especially romantic relationships.
Yeah. I definitely have to say it's rare. And we were supported. I'm a coach. I have coaches. We had a relationship coach doing this process with us, which really helped in that process, because it's not common. But I would say it's a buzzword right now. Consciousness, like quantum healing. Yeah. And you can literally heal through a relationship. You can also heal through a breakup. A breakup is the best, I'm sorry, I know, but it's the best opportunity to look at your patterns and your programs, but you have to take the space afterwards to sit with yourself. And most people don't. Most people jump into the next relationship.
Right.
And that's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, and to like sit with your feelings. Like, and that's always the advice too, I think, of a lot of people who are also maybe not healed in their own world either, saying, just go date somebody else.
Oh yeah, isn't there that saying, like, get over someone else by getting on, right? Yeah, and how many people do that and follow
all
that?
The time.
Right, but you're actually taking on someone else's energy before you even got rid of the other energy that was in your body, because when you are intimate with someone, you're taking on their anxiety, you're taking on their depression, you're taking on any energy that's within them, you are absorbing it into your body.
What are your thoughts around, this is like, we're going to veer into another topic here, but what are your thoughts around the quickness of intimacy these days? I feel like, especially with the younger generation, no shade, do your thing.
Yeah.
But there's just this energy around, you go on a date, you like each other, you're intimate, and that's it. Yeah. And I was actually texting my producer, Michelle, last night. I was watching Martha on Netflix. Great show, by the way, guys. Go watch Martha. I love her. She's crazy, but I love her. And she goes on a date with this guy. They are attracted to each other. They have sex and they get married. Because that's how it was, back in the 60s or whatever. Yeah. But now it's like, you don't need to really know anybody. You don't really need to nobody cares. They're just exchanging all this energy. And so as a healer, what do you think about that?
I think that's a really important question. And that's when you're conscious, you treat your body as sacred. Because you're aware that you're going to take on those energies. Do we create shame if it happens? No. However, if you're really respecting yourself in every level, then you're going to want to know somebody, because if you're aware of there's energy that you're going to be taking on. If they're in scarcity mindset, guess what? You sleep with that person, all of a sudden your bank account is dwindling because you have scarcity mindset.
You're not doing nothing to my bank account, sir.
Literally. I've watched it happen multiple times. I help clients. I'm like, okay, well, so we're going through this with yourself, but what is your partner's mindset like? Because if someone is feeding you that energy all the time, you're living in it.
Right.
And so, once I've witnessed it within my own life where my business quadrupled when I exited a relationship.
Oh, now I'm just thinking about this like last guy that I was seeing and thinking about his lifestyle, and I'm like,
Right? What energy did you take on, Drea?
not the best.
Okay.
There was definitely a period where I was like, well, I'm gonna have to bring down a little bit of my light. A little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh, girl, we're never dimming our light for a man. Ever, 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 ever.
I know.
The man should be like building up your light and just,
yeah.
But that's a lesson, right?
Oh, yes.
I
very
think
much
every
so.
relationship is a university of life, of dating. Like, think about it, because there's so much information that can come out of it if you take the time to process it. But most people don't.
Because it's so hard to sit with those feelings and confront that stuff and let that pain and all of those things go through you. And then on top of that, to do that with the person that it's happening with.
It's a lot easier doing it with the person that it happened with than it is alone, to be honest.
Right.
Because I've had both, right?
Right.
Navigating it. And it's the communication. It comes back to like loving awareness and communication.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easier instead of doing it alone.
What would you say to the naysayers, right? So the people that may be listening to this going, no, you break up with someone, it's over.
Right, you block them.
You block them. Yeah, I have a friend, I call her Mrs. Block. She's like Block City. I don't care. She has zero tolerance for all the things. Somebody misses her call, she's like, blocked. I blocked them, babe. And I'm like, but maybe they were just in the shower. She's like, no, I blocked them.
I have another friend that literally deletes if their name is long, they delete a letter every time the person fucks up. Oops, sorry. Until the name is gone.
Oh my God.
So like if it's a short name, you're really.
Well, that's on you.
Yeah,
Your mom should have named you Jim. That is not on me. You got 3 chances to mess up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is amazing. So what would you say to them if they're like, this is like too much?
If they're just going into like completely blocking or not wanting
the blocking, like I'm not doing this, I don't want to deal with that. Because do you think that's a defense?
Yeah, absolutely. I would ask them how would that feel if it was done to you? So reflect it back. Our relationships are mirrors. And so, yes. And so look at how you're handling that situation and first fill into how that would feel for you. And then if your goal is to have integrity in all of your interactions and grow through the experience, you got to do the hard things. Have the conversation. You're running from something by just blocking someone. And you have to communicate with no expectation, which is hard, right? But this is all practice. This is a muscle that I've been growing for years.
I'm like, girl, that muscle on mine is atrophied. It's atrophied. It's dead. Yeah. It needs to come back. It needs to come back.
Well, we can work on it.
Yes, I would love to. Because like if I send a text, I'm like, hello.
I mean, understand, but also just giving people grace too. And people will meet you where they're at. They're only going to meet you as far as they've gone themselves. So, asking really good questions on the first, second date is really important for me.
People don't always show up authentically. Like if you ask someone, do you want to be in a relationship? And they say yes, they change their minds. I'm sorry. Do you know what I'm saying?
I feel some energy there. How often does that happen to you?
It's more recently, it's like the opposite. Like before, people were clear. They didn't want to be in a relationship. And then I would move forward. So now it's like I'm very consciously listening to people. So I'm like, do you want this? And they'll say yeah, or whatever. And then, a few months later, it's like it all changed. So it's like you really don't know until you know.
Right.
Right.
Which creates, pain and why most people in a relationship and never open that box again or never communicate or block and go to the extremes.
Yeah.
Understandably so. There is a lot of people out there, I have to say, that are spiritual bypassing. And that's one of the hard things about.
What does that mean for the people who don't know? Spiritual bypassing.
Ooh, another word.
Yeah, another fuzzy word.
It's like a whole new language.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically where they present themselves that they are a conscious spiritual person and they are out of integrity in multiple areas of their life. So they might be doing the work around, I'm running a conscious business, but are you conscious in every area of your life? And I'm talking about as simple as, are you returning the grocery cart? Like, what do you do when no one's watching? That's the person that you want to date, right? The person that is literally acting the same way with you when they're not around.
Right. So you got to look at like their friends, how they're interacting with everyone and everything.
Yeah, because a lot of times these conscious, men, and I've had it happen to me multiple times in retreat experiences and, just the world of more of, the LA spiritual world.
Yeah, the LA spiritual world is
really interesting
because there are a lot of people right now that will call themselves healers and all these things. There's some Burning Man people, no shade to Burning Man people. I am a burner. We all know that.
Me too. However, but you don't sit in one on ayahuasca ceremony and are now enlightened. That is not the way that you become enlightened. It's what you do every day with the wisdom that came through that ceremony.
Exactly.
Just like with breathwork. You'll get downloads in it, but it's what you do to integrate that in your life. But a lot of people think they sit and they're a shaman now.
Yeah, I was going to say, they do one ayahuasca session and they add shaman on their Instagram bio. And I'm like, when did you become a shaman?
Mm-hmm. There's a lineage of respect that needs to be with every medicine that's served. And so it's really the full embodiment is what I'm looking for from a conscious human.
Right.
Are they embodied in the work that they are doing and the work that they are selling? And even as on a date, they're sharing something, but are they embodied in it?
Right. So what is it like dating as a healer? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like walking around the world like a therapist or something. Like, how do you
It's even worse because I hear people's thoughts.
That would be like my worst nightmare, but also I would still want to know,
Yeah. I have to turn that version of myself off a lot of times.
How do you do that?
It's really just being present with the person and going in practice of non-judgment, because otherwise I'm like observing their traumas every time they talk about, something that I'm like, oh, well, that means you have a mother wound, so that means you're not going to show up in this way. And I'm like connecting the dots constantly. However, I want to enjoy the person and get to know them.
Right.
And so it is really learning to balance the two and then owning my own stuff. I'm a healer and I want to heal everyone.
Right.
I don't want to heal my partner though. So there's that fine line that I'm still figuring out.
Of allowing them to have their own journey.
Absolutely. Because I'm inviting people into a deeper knowing within themselves. And I love guiding people, even in relationship.
Right.
However, they have to meet themselves at it.
Right.
I can't tell them what to do because guess what? Then they're going to resent me.
Exactly.
Just like with my clients.
Exactly. Like, you don't want to be telling your boyfriend, hey, this is your mother wound. And
yeah,
no one's going to want to hear that. They're going to be like, get out of my face.
No, yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever recommended someone go see someone else for things that you thought was like really heavy on their heart or traumas that they weren't dealing with versus like you kind of honing in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I had my ex go to my spiritual teacher. Right? Because there needs to be someone that's not involved in this that is
unbiased source.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How does someone go about bringing unconscious uncoupling up to someone who is like has no idea about it? So maybe you're in middle America and a person really wants to get spiritual and bring their partner into that. How would they lead them into that, but like on the easy path?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so, spiritual so that we sit and soul gaze into each other's eyes.
Exactly.
Because that's literally what we did, like 20 minutes of that. And let me tell you, if you've ever done that, you will cry. Like it will release all these feelings. It's a beautiful experience. You can see into someone's heart and soul. I've actually worked with a celebrity and had just like someone in a woman's circle sit with her and stare into their eyes. And it was really interesting afterwards. She was like, I just fell in love with you. And the celebrity said it to the other girl because they fell in love with each other in that moment. And not that they pursued it.
Right.
However,
but I know what you mean.
That's what happens. You're seeing someone's soul.
People always cry when they sit across from each other. I remember with my ex, we were moving into an apartment together, and I know we shouldn't have for my friends watching. Totally kept it a secret, girl. And I said to him, I said, we're going to sage the place before we move in together. We'd been together at this point, I think it was like 3 years, 2.5 years or something. And I said, let's sit and look at each other for a minute. Now, this is like an East Coast guy, hardcore. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not fucking I was like, just sit. Let's do 30
so you
seconds.
started it. See, that's like
I started
to someone who wasn't.
But girl, he looked at me like, are we done? And I'm like, we haven't even sat down yet.
Well, let me explain why it's important. Because there's a lot of things that we think we need to say, but the body keeps score. So the body will communicate it.
Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. So through the eyes, body language, like, you know, when you feel safe with someone, when you look in their eyes. Right?
Oh my God, girl.
Yeah.
Even with friends and stuff, you know, friends, parents, family members, I'm like, something's going on here. Like, I've definitely met people where I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but I don't like it, and I'm out.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
you feel energy too. Like, we're all energetic beings. Everyone has these gifts. It's just tapping into them and actually listening to them. How many times do we not listen to our intuition?
Girl, let me tell you, in that little stargazing session we had, everything was like, get out, run.
Right.
I'm like,
And
did you sign the lease? I was committed, Jodi. I was like, we're going to make this work. That's it.
Understand that, been in those situations, you know, past, and you just realize that it's not worth holding on to something that's not for you.
And every part of my body immediately knew. Girl, I knew on the first date, but I was like, he's so cute. So I'll see you Wednesday.
So with that, one of the important conversations to have when you're consciously dating is knowing what seduces you.
Oh.
So looks, I just heard you to reflect back to you. He
Girl.
was hot. So if you got six pack and you're hot and
I see a beard, a couple tats.
Exactly.
I'm dead.
Okay, so that's what seduces you. So you have more awareness going into it. It's beyond the looks that you want. Looks fade, right?
They definitely do.
You know, but if you know what seduces you, you're able to navigate it with more boundaries.
Hopefully, Jodi. Hopefully, Jodi. Because I'm telling you.
I'm not perfect by any means. There's been multiple times of learning this over and over and over.
Exactly.
There is no judgment here.
Yeah, because I know I've said this on the show where it's like two guys can say the same thing, but one's hot and one's not, and one's a creep and one's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to ignore that because he has a beard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, that was really weird that you said that, but I'm going to give you another chance.
So a beard seduces you. Like, knowing what certain, you know, characteristics even, you know, if you're looking for somebody that owns a home, well, just because they own a home doesn't mean that, you know. So knowing that these are the things that you're looking for, but it doesn't mean that it's your right partner.
Yeah, because you can get really blinded by those things. And I think it's really important to know that when you said, like you said, consciously dating. So we're talking about conscious uncoupling, but consciously dating is a thing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think look, right now I'm not dating.
Okay.
Have put it off the table, and I feel very peaceful because I'm really trying to not like use people as pacifiers. It's like pacifier people, I call them, where I break up with someone and to get over that person, I date somebody else. And then once I feel better, then I start over again. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So now I put everything down and it's very peaceful and I have all these things. I feel like I'm figuring things
You're
out.
sovereign.
But as soon as somebody gives me a little wink, a little something, I'm like,
the hair flips.
everything is gone. You know, everyone's like, Drea, what about consciously dating? I'm like, yes, tattoos and a beard. I can't talk to you right now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's normal, but I really respect the time that you're taking. You know, I've taken multiple time frames in my life of even celibacy, and that was, you know, hard, but it was definitely serving the bigger picture of calling in a healthy relationship. Yeah. Deep breath again.
Deep breath, because it's so hard to take the time, and everyone keeps telling me to just date, just get back out there, go do this, go do that, go to the thing, meet somebody. And I'm telling you, I can feel in my body, I'm not ready.
Then listen to that.
Yeah.
And that's like even going deeper into like healing stuff that's a somatic healing. Like that's knowing all of the answers are within our body. And like I said, the body keeps score. So your body is talking to you constantly.
Yeah.
It's tuning into that wisdom. Like you said, you know, I'm not ready. However, there's so many narratives out there, right? Like for me, my age, never married.
Girl, the age.
Yeah, no kids. And I'm like, I think it's a gift. I think I'm wise, but that's a whole nother thing. However, there's a lot of pressure in the world of like, you know, and a lot of women find their worth by being in partnership. So actually rediscovering your own self-worth by being sovereign. And that's what you're doing, making that commitment daily. And that's beautiful. Yeah,
because I feel now I'm in a space to get to know myself and not seeking that validation from, like you said, the partnership or this person telling me whatever. Like I'm doing these things for myself. Yeah. And it is quite the journey.
It is.
But sometimes I'm so not used to the peace. Like I'm used to chaos. So sometimes I just want to mess things up. I'm like, let me call my ex real quick. It's a little too quiet.
I mean, how many women do that?
You know?
And I watch it over and over again with my clients. They're addicted to the chaos. who a lot of people are. It's being comfortable in the discomfort, especially if you grew up in an environment where that represented itself in your younger years, age 1 through 7, or the most, prime years of our life that develop the patterns on how we love.
Love is a struggle. That is what I learned.
Oh, well, and how's it been for you?
Wonderful. So great.
Exactly.
So, great. Really
We get to shift that narrative and that it gets to be easy and it can even be fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like, because how often if we wake up in the morning and we're like, today's going to be a hard day, guess what? You're going to have a hard day. If you wake up in the morning and you're like, today's going to be the best day ever, it's going to be beautiful out, you're going to notice the subtle, beautiful things in your day.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a way better day.
It's just like whatever you decide and you put at the forefront, that's what you're going to see. It's like when I'm shopping for a car and I want a specific car, that's the only car I see.
Yes, it's exactly that.
I know that really does. It is true. But I have a hard time with that sometimes because through this period, it's not always fun. Like I wake up just feeling like really down and then getting ghosted by someone. It's just like there's a lot of stuff going on. And that's something else I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
When you're getting ghosted, and people are shutting you out, what advice would you give someone to handle that from a spiritual perspective?
Yeah, hurt people. And that's really sad because that's where I think that we all have the opportunity to be better humans. Because why go out and create more trauma? There's already enough darkness and sadness in the world. But coming back to that place of not taking it personal, knowing that they're hurt is why they're hurting you.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like coming from a place of compassion and not really just holding it and taking it personal because, they're hurting. Again, they're hurting. It's one of the hardest things, right? I totally believe in being in integrity and just communicating. This isn't the right fit. It's
how difficult is that?
Hard. ChatGPT can even give you a great response.
By the way.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do it.
Exactly. Like, please send me a breakup. Literally, it works.
It totally works.
Yeah.
I just guided a friend the other day who was going to ghost someone, and he went on a couple dates with this girl, and he wasn't feeling it. And she was texting, and he was showing me, and then she double texted, and I thought, just send her a message and tell her it's not a right fit. He sent the message. She said, "Thank you for letting me know."
Literally.
That's it. She went on with her life. That's
Literally.
it.
I have so much more respect. I've actually dated multiple people that have come back into my life because they handled it with so much love and consciousness in the beginning to be like, I'm not ready for this.
Exactly.
You're an incredible soul, but I'm just not ready. And I'm like, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It doesn't make me angry. I could see you out again and everything will be great.
And we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And,
and then maybe when you are ready, if the path is meant to be, our souls will recross. And that's actually happened.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I just leaning into that and having faith in what's for you will come to you, I think is something that it's a journey.
It absolutely is. And it's like
journey.
patience in the process, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone has the same story. So not comparing yourself, I think, is a big thing too.
I know, especially, as you said, as you get older.
Yeah, you're going to the weddings, you're going to the baby showers.
So have you met him yet?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll meet your guy today and you're just like, I'm good, okay?
Literally.
I'm gonna have another piece of cake
I was
and get on with my life.
recently at a family gathering and I was carrying my niece and they were like, congratulations on your baby. And I was like, this is my brother's daughter, and let me introduce
Jodi.
you to his wife. Yeah,
You're like, I'm good, thanks though.
I don't. Yeah, that's a choice. I don't want children. So
Exactly. Okay, so one more question before you go. Talk to me about your dating. So what's going on with you? You said you're online, but you're not really using it.
Yeah,
What's Jodi doing?
I'm more in the organic situation right now, where I'm like looking to meet someone organically, because online dating, to me, it's very superficial. You're basing it upon looks, Yeah, and so I'm out there. I look at dating as I want to have a series of positive dating experiences.
Good luck, girl.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's been really.
No,
I would
you
have
will,
to say.
Jodi. You will have a series of positive dating experiences.
I've been having them. I've literally been having them, and each date is something, an experience to learn something more about them and myself.
And I love that I can go on dates now when I do start dating again and not expect it. Every date has to be the guy.
That doesn't have to be your husband.
It doesn't have to be my husband.
Yes.
A date is not a down payment on a marriage.
Yes, it gets to be fun.
It gets to be fun.
Yeah, and I mean, you can talk about intentions. Like, I don't want to waste time, so I think
because there's a couple things I let people know before we even get to the date.
Oh, I do their astrology chart before we even go on a date. Give me your birthday, what time you were born.
Jodi,
all of that.
What happens when you ask that? Because I know for me, definitely when I was online dating, I'm like, could you tell me your sign? And then I'm like, hello? Hello. Hello.
Well, because I'm intuitive, the ones I end up talking to are ones that will do that and not even question it. Every single one. But if you look at my time passages, every guy I've gone on a date with in the past 2 years, there's a birth chart in there.
I love it. One guy just sent me everything. I was like, hey, what's your sign? He's like, here you go, Drea. Just do your thing.
I mean, there's even a button for compatibility that it will do your compatibility with their compatibility and give you a rating. So if you get a low score, I probably won't call you back.
Okay. And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Jodi, you've been so great.
I love
oh my
it.
God. Thank you for coming on the show. Before we let you go, we have to play red flag, green flag.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you some questions about dating, and you tell me red flag or green flag. Okay. So for the people who are listening, you have to say red flag, green flag, and who aren't enjoying the visual experience, as you should. So you'll just hold up the red flag or the green flag.
Let's do this.
Okay. So first one, he makes TikTok videos and dances online. Red flag, green flag for you.
This is harder than I thought. I mean, I'm trying to practice non-judgment.
Jodi.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, babe. Oh, what is that?
That would be a red flag.
A red flag.
Yeah.
Not feeling it. Okay.
Yeah.
Text you back right away. Immediately.
Green flag.
Okay, good. Some people say red flag. Because they like...
They're super available.
Yeah. They're like, you send a text. He's like, hey, girl.
You know what? That would kind of annoy me. So let's get a red flag.
You are a sag.
I need spontaneity.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need to text back right away.
Okay. His mom still does his laundry.
Red flag. Yeah.
Okay. He goes out a lot.
Red flag.
Okay. Why is it a red flag?
Because I don't go out a lot. For me personally, I want someone who's in the similar lifestyle as me. Mm-hmm. And so my version of going out is going to a breathwork or cacao ceremony.
I love it.
And maybe a static dance. So like, yeah. So I'm minimizing the amount of men I could date. Very much so. I get it. The field is shortening. But I also like to have fun. And I think pleasure is medicine too. So if it's like they go out periodically, no problem.
Right.
Let's go out and dance and play and all the things. But if it's all the time,
gotta go. Okay, has children.
I mean, it's a green flag, but I prefer not.
Oh, have you ever dated someone with children?
Most of them have had children.
Exactly. I know, girl. That's where we are.
Yeah,
they got the kiddos.
Say, yeah. But I like being number one, so I do prefer to not have children. But, you know, it is what it is.
Last one. Still has contact with his ex.
If it was done consciously, I'm totally for it. But if it was done unconsciously, red flag.
Which is probably going to be a red flag because how many people are consciously uncoupling?
True. So that would probably be a red flag. But I can't judge someone else if I'm still doing it.
Touche.
So
I was going to say that's what I was like.
Yeah, it could be a green flag. It just depends on, the scenario. I think each one is different.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah.
Oh, hates his mom.
Oh, that's a red flag. That's a total red flag.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, Jodi, thank you so much for being on the show. You have been amazing, and I love you so much.
I love you so much. This was so fun.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. As always, thank you so much for lending me your ear. Don't forget, this is the place for the Hot Mess Expresses and the Black Sheeps of Love. Before you go, make sure you comment down below. And as always, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Drea Renee for Hey Babe, Can We Talk? Bye.
Bye.